Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Software Engineer K here, and we're gonna have a pretty cool follow-up. We've got some pretty cool stuff to cover, so I just wanted to go through a couple of cool updates with regards to the follow-up news from Marvel. So we had a couple of prolific people in the community who also, are related to certain brands that have been hinted. We did finally hear from Alfred Kahn as well, so that's another piece of FUD, set to rest. And what I did also want to share with you guys is kind of like one of my more, I guess, controversial experiences with regards to engaging with the community outside of VeVe. And I just wanted to kind of like, I felt like just putting it out there just so that you guys can kind of see, my not so great experiences as well as my, great experiences. And I just wanted to wrap up with the daily price of Omi, since we have been seeing, a bit more of what we would expect following, a hype kind of cycle. So, firstly, there was this post put out in the official Marvel Reddit page, and there was nothing wrong with the actual post itself. It's just literally copy and paste of the title and sharing the actual Marvel link. So this is the official Marvel link, marvel.com, and then the article, nothing wrong with it, but you can see that it was locked. So this I would describe as, like this just has to be put out there that there are people who are just haters. They will use whatever excuse to try and justify their actions, but at the end of the day, even if it makes them a hypocrite, they will do it just for the sake of hating, and it's just their own personal bias. So if you have like encounters such as this, like just don't worry about it. There are plenty of people who have some self-respect for themselves, but you guys can see that some people, they were confused by what this meant, which is perfectly fine. And someone responded, literally there's nothing wrong with it. They explained exactly what it is, what it means, and they said that I appreciate it, but I just don't understand collecting non-physicals, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then as there's nothing wrong with these responses. And then this type of response is expected. Someone just comes in out of nowhere and says either you work for them or you're a bot. Like, all they did is just explain what VeVe is, and for some reason that makes it seem there are people saying you either work for them or you're a bot, as if you can't share with other people something that you're interested in. And then this guy just spams bot again, and yeah, then you start to get into people who just don't understand VeVe at all. They've probably like seen one article about what NFTs are, assume that it's bad for the environment, and they just assume VeVe is the same. So as we go down, someone's just like feel free to call me a bot. And then this guy just decided to share some like really dumb article about what an NFT is, and then he says VeVe just buys carbon credits to make up for chopping down forests, which is one of the like dumbest replies I've ever seen. Literally, like, I literally just shared things that you could find in about 30 seconds of googling, just how much CO2 is produced by transactions on Immutable X, and compared that to the amount of CO2 produced from chopping up paper. So for those who don't want to read it, the amount of, at the current rate of today, of 500,000 NFTs minted, the amount of CO2 produced in 8 years of operation at that rate is the equivalent of just 10,000 comic books. And 10,000 comic books is not a lot. So, then they just switched to, after, going back to the bot argument, these are all bots. And you'd expect, someone to read a reply like this. A bot would not reply in this sort of way. And, obviously, I expected this. You have been banned from participating in the Marvel subreddit. Reason, prove you are real. And, the guy still responded, it seemed like you were a bot. Just seeing if you would respond, you're on. But I mean, I just don't, I just don't have the energy to deal with people like that. But yeah, on to the cool news. So, that was one of my more like not so great experiences, but I've had plenty of really, really great experiences. I've had people, ask me about VeVe, download the app, and, shout out to Kyle. He posted this. He got a message from someone who says that they're downloading the VeVe app as we speak. So clearly there are people who are interested in it, but you will get, people who are just trying to hate on VeVe because they just hate on things that are new. You have to remember that when the internet was, first established, people were hating on the internet like crazy because all you could do back then was literally just read text from a screen. So essentially it was just a way of reading, books. And people who were hating on it, they were saying, why do I have to waste electricity, buy all this expensive equipment, spend, 100 years connecting to dial-up just to read a book when I could go to a library? Going to a library makes sense. You don't need to use electricity to read a book. And that was, the whole argument of trying to hold back the internet. And now look where we are. These same people who probably would have said the same thing, hated on the internet back then, they're using the internet now to hate on something new. And it's always going to happen. There's always going to be people that are resistant to change. But that's why, people who invest in this kind of thing, there is definitely, a return that's sat there for those who actually understand what they're investing in. So that's why I'm quite pro on people doing their research. And I always go on about, doing research. Now, on the point of VeVe and Marvel, so we had someone else who's quite, prolific in the community, also associated with a pretty big license. So VeVe did post this article, and then we had Jeremy Padua. He says, I love this so much. I hold a large bag of Omi. I haven't sold a single Omi. The mechanics of this token as tied to sales of VeVe and the long-term prospects are spectacular. I'm a big fan of the token, the offerings, and the management. Well done. And someone responded to him with a Pokemon meme. Interestingly enough, Jeremy actually replied to that with just, these like suspicious eyes. And I've noticed, I'm not going to speculate, but I wouldn't completely discount someone who is quite, like he is another one of the Pokemon guys. VeVe have the main Pokemon guy on their team, Alfred Kahn, which I'll touch on in a second, but Jeremy Padua. Now, some of you don't know who he is, so just a quick intro into him. So Jeremy Padua, he posted this last year. He says, I'm Jeremy Padua. I've held the Pokemon Global Master Toy Partnership license outside of Asia for the past 15 years. So straight away, he's got 15 years of working as the master holder of the Pokemon toy license. And the toys are obviously the collectibles. And this guy is huge on VeVe, which is digital collectibles. So you've got the main holder of the Pokemon collectible license of 15 years who is actively promoting Omi, which is digital collectibles. Interesting. Just think about that. So he says, I'm forever grateful to be associated with the Pokemon brand, and I will be posting here more actively now that I have truly been bitten by the trading card game collection bug. And then he just kind of like shares a bit more about himself. So that is pretty, I won't speculate, but you guys can see that out there for yourself. Another point of Alfred Kahn. So following on from the Marvel announcement, he did share another congratulations. I've noticed that he does tend to congratulate VeVe on their milestones. So he says, congratulations Team VeVe on the new Marvel and VeVe collaboration to offer a digital collectibles experience for Marvel. And David Yu, CEO, he replied, thank you, Al. So, that shows that Alfred Kahn is alive. For those of you who are speculating that something happened to him, he is still around. And his profile does still say he works for Ecomi, for those who were confused. So yeah, this was less than 24 hours ago. So clearly, nothing's happened. He's there. He's doing his thing. Obviously, with the stuff that Al Khan's associated with, that's like, some really, really big stuff. It's not stuff that I feel like they're going to drop anytime soon. But the team did say that Comic-Con is going to be kind of like, it feels like the proper launch of the product. They're going to be out there with, the proper fans promoting this stuff. So I feel like Comic-Con, we can definitely expect something cool, something big, but I don't know what. Now, lastly, on the price of Omi, so we managed to hit a peak. So I was actually asleep when this happened, but we hit a peak of about nearly 0.35 cents, which brought us back, to a pretty good price level. We were brought back to the price level of, you know, kind of mid-May. Because since then, you know, the price had been on a downtrend and we just recently broke that downtrend. Now, the movement is still bullish. We do have the 30-day moving average crossing over the 90-day. That's perfectly fine. And if I just grab this and just change the color of this to a bright yellow, and just draw that trend line there. Okay, so there is actually, let's extend this. Okay, so you guys can see that there is a kind of pretty solid region of support around about this 0.2 cent range, pretty much spot on 0.2. And we can see here that we did dip below and then we broke back out. And on the hourly, we are moving upwards. Now, what I suspect is we could come back down, touch this 0.2 cent. If we can hold above 0.2 for a little while at least, I believe that justifies a movement up to the kind of 0.3 cent range again, which I think is possible. Now, if we just go to the 4-hourly chart, we can see that, you know, we wicked right at the support line and there must have been buy orders set there because we just bounced back. So that to me does, you know, imply a good region of support around about 0.2. But obviously there is still a lot of Marvel hype going around. It depends what happens in the next kind of week or so. If we can maintain this kind of momentum, then that's good. But to be honest, I reckon a lot of people who were kind of on the fence about Omi have bought in, and I don't believe those people are going to be selling soon. There were clearly a lot of kind of day traders who were just looking to, you know, buy and sell for a profit, and now this is kind of like the more organic price that Omi should be at, which is still, you know, significantly above where we were, because we were heading towards that kind of 0.1 cent region, which was way too undervalued. That was just stupidly oversold. But I believe this is kind of going to be the new bottom, 0.2 cents. So, you know, whatever the price is, as long as it's below my average price, I'll just continue buying Omi every month, just as dollar cost average, until eventually the spot price is above my average buy price. Then I may hold off buying a little bit more, like buying Omi, but it does depend obviously on what the overall price is. And to be honest, I do believe anything above 0.5 cent is an absolute steal in my opinion. That's like, as long as it's below 0.5 cent, I will probably continue buying. So, you know, you guys can do whatever you want. Again, I'm just sharing with you guys what I'm doing because I just want to be transparent in that way. So that's pretty much everything I want to go over with you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. We do have the AMA with Reese tomorrow. Really cool stuff that I'm going to be sharing. I'm super excited to kind of share everything with you guys because I can tell you that, you know, I'm just going to leave it. Like, tune in, subscribe, so you keep updated. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.